Your product landing page is what defines the level of success your e-commerce brand achieves when it comes to Google Ads, so it makes sense to get it right. And in this video, I want to give you the few best practices which you can implement right now to not only increase those conversion rates quickly, but to also get more profitable sales as a result. Now, with that, let's jump right into the first best practice, and that is to focus on the 3 R's. Now, a lot of e-commerce brand owners don't realize this, but basically a landing page, doesn't matter what niche you're in, doesn't matter what industry you're in, should follow a specific layout, should follow a specific formula. And that's where I developed these 3 R's. First R is called relevancy, second R is called responsiveness, and third R is called reality. Now, let's go over the first R. Relevancy is essentially what it means. Basically keeping your landing page relevant to what a user is searching for when it comes to the shopping ad side of things, when it comes to the search ad side of things. Basically, what they click on your ad, which appears first on the Google network, is what they should see on your landing page. This is called relevancy. This also is what drives the amount of time a user spends on your website, which of course Google's algorithm looks at to understand how good your ad is. But second, responsiveness. Now, if somebody goes on your landing page, they're trying to add the product to cart, they're trying to interact with their description, images, etc., and something is not working, it's not really responding back to the user despite doing clicks, this is not being responsive. And what will happen is the user will bounce right off your website because first of all, your website is not professional enough because it's not working. And second, it again creates that disconnect which we want to avoid between what the user is trying to do versus what's available on your website. This leads me to the third thing, just reality. Now, reality or keeping things real essentially means keeping the promos that you mentioned on the ad itself or just keeping the coupon codes that you may have eligible active on your website during the process you run them. At the end of the day, Google wants its users to have an amazing experience. This means making sure that they see what they see on the ad side of things. They interact with the website that's fast, that's responsive, and that's real and honors its words, most important of all. So these 3 R's should help you get that high quality landing page experience. But this brings me to the second best practice when it comes to Google, and that is to put trust badges on your product images on Google. So if we look at this example right here, we can see that this Bamboo Lab website has this best inventions of 2022 kind of certificate or this badge on the product image itself. But when we go on Google and we type in the keyword 3D printer, we see there's no badge on here because first of all, the text is not allowed on Google itself. So this is something that they did externally. They introduced the specific badge only for the landing page. And here they kept things just very plain and simple on the ad side of things. So this is what you want to be doing as well, because these badges are designed to increase the trust of the person on the website. If they see this kind of badge, they're going to be much more likely to convert. They're going to be much more likely to not only trust your brand, but to also interact with it in different ways. So it's super crucial to be adding these kinds of badges, and they could be fully custom based around your niche, based around your industry. You want to kind of step out of the comfort zone and introduce badges like these, because on the landing pages, this is going to help with the Google Ads conversion rate setup. But this brings me to the third practice, which is standalone landing pages. Now, a standalone landing page can be introduced to your Shopify website itself directly via an external app. There's a bunch of apps that offer this, which you can check out. But basically, the idea of a standalone landing page is to make it so there's minimal distractions on the website itself. And this is a perfect example of a standalone landing page. Although it's not fully standalone, this kind of gives the vibe that it is a full-on standalone landing page. And the main criteria of a standalone landing page is, number one, it's very interactive. It's professionally designed, it's colorful like this one right here. But also number two, it does a great job of kind of customizing the overall layout of the page itself. So you can put like videos here of testimonials. You can have these kinds of carousel looking images right here, showing the product, or maybe videos showing different types of testimonials, whatever you want to do in that situation. You could also add things like guides like they did right here. All these things make your brand stand out and make it seem a lot different than the other brands out there, especially the Shopify-based brands. And if you look right here, they have this little kind of comparison chart. They have more reviews at the bottom, which is also custom-based reviews. And then finally, they ended up with the footer menu. Now, the difference between this landing page and what I recommend is, I recommend you don't have any type of menu at all at the top. So they should not be able to click on the menu button. And if you scroll all the way down, they should not have a footer menu as well. This is because we want their attention only on the product pages. If they get to the end, they should not be able to click anywhere else because this is a distraction for them. And they don't really care about, for example, becoming an ambassador for the first time they're looking at your website, or they don't care about shipping policy or terms of service. Now, of course, you should have shipping information, which should be directly visible in the description itself. You should have links here which take them to the shipping policy page, etc. But you don't need to have these menus which distract the user, especially with standalone landing pages. It's definitely worth a try. We have seen a lot of bigger conversion rates just because we did that alone. But that brings me to the fourth best practice, and that is to incorporate a user tracking software. Now, there's a lot of user tracking softwares out there, but what I personally find great use with is something called Microsoft Clarity. Now, this is something I use for my agency as well, which, by the way, if you run a brand doing $1 million a year, you need extra help scaling your brand to the next level, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen. But Microsoft Clarity looks like this on the dashboard. So if we look right here, there's a lot of important information. It's talking about sessions, scroll depth, average time spent. If you scroll down, it tells you where majority of the people came from. You get a lot of interesting information, like what campaign got majority of the people from it, what the channel was, source, etc. So this goes beyond Google Analytics, something you should absolutely have. But also, the reason why I like Microsoft Clarity is because if you go to recordings, you can actually see live recordings, or at least recorded recordings of people and what they did on their website. So this is for contact us form on my agency website, but I can clearly see where they're clicking, how they're scrolling, what they did, what they didn't do, etc., which is super important when it comes to understanding what you should be doing. And then you also get this heat map where it tells you basically where a lot of the traffic is, whether it's doing, etc. So a tool like this, again, I'm not sponsored by Microsoft Clarity. I'm using it for free. You can use this, you can use something else. I highly recommend it because it's gonna really improve the overall landing page experience, because now you will know why a user is converting versus why they're not and what you can do about it. But finally, last best practice is to basically keep things simple and not make it overly aesthetic. What I mean by that is, if we look at, for example, this website right here, which is also a brand we have been working with for a while now. We're helping them with their landing page side of things, but if we look at their brand, we can see it's fairly aesthetic. I mean, it looks nice. There's a lot of beautiful images here. The product pages are nice, etc. But if we go on their overall website, on their ad dashboard, we can see their conversion rate is absolutely horrible. And it's not like they sell very high ticket products. It's barely $200-300 for the product. So it's not that high ticket. But if we look last 30 days, we can see their overall conversion rates, it's on the lower end. I mean, if we just scroll all the way to the right, we can see right here, the conversion rate is 0.23%, which is fairly low. So it doesn't mean that just because you have a very aesthetic website that it's going to work. What probably happens is the user comes in and they get distracted by all of these things that are happening here, all these little kind of story related videos coming up and the details not really being there. If you scroll down, I mean, it goes right into upsells and downsells. All these things make it a little bit difficult for the user to understand what their first step should be. Should they be adding the product to cart, or should they spend a bunch of time just watching these videos? And don't get me wrong, videos convert, but you need to have a limit to how many videos you have, because it's, number one, going to slow down your website, but number two, also cause a lot of distractions like it does right here. So you want to keep things simple, you want to keep things straightforward and have a strategy behind it, not just put a bunch of stuff together hoping that something clicks. But again, if you run a brand doing $1 million a year, you need extra help scaling to the next level, go onto my website, yourmarketing.com, and schedule a free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make it happen. But I want you to check out this video right here on a case study I did of a brand where we followed these 5 best practices and scaled it to multi-7 figures with Google.